Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm having a lot of questions about how to determine what kind of private investigator you need. Now, I'm not going to record this whole video, uh, but I will put a link to the video in the description, and you can go and get this video and watch it, and I think it will help you out. This guy's a professional. I don't know anything about him. I'm not suggesting him for your case. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm just saying he's telling you 8 mistakes to avoid when hiring a private investigator, so you get the right one for your job that you need. Okay? So I'm going to play a little bit of the video.
We're going to look at the 8 mistakes that people commonly make when hiring a private investigator. And more importantly, how to avoid these costly mistakes. Hello, my name is Paul Beppler. I've owned and run my own private investigation business for over 15 years. And at the same time, I'm currently a police lieutenant with the city of Cleveland. For most people that call our offices looking for a private investigator, this is their first time calling a PI. They're usually a little bit nervous, they don't know what to expect, and they're calling us because someone has already breached their trust. In either case, they don't know what to look for, what questions they should ask, or even how much a PI should cost. Most importantly, they don't know what to avoid when selecting a private investigator to handle their sensitive and confidential issue or problem. So here's the good news. Having seen the disastrous results my own clients have experienced from hiring the wrong private investigator, before they hired us, of course, I've decided to create this quick and dirty guide that highlights the most common mistakes to avoid when hiring a private investigator, so that you can steer clear of some of these mistakes yourself. At the end of this video, I'll also share a link with you where you can download 2 simple
I'm going
checklists
to
to use when doing your own search for a PI.
skip through this for you guys.
Mistake number 1.
Here we go.
Choosing a private investigator without considering and verifying.
This is a good one, so I'm going to let his...
Years in business is probably the biggest predictor of what kind of results you can expect out of a private investigator. Most guys aren't going to last 10 years in the business if they don't consistently get good results.
Good results.
Doing good work will get them follow-up work and referrals, which is going to keep them in business. Additionally, a private investigator has to know how to stay on the right side of the law to avoid being sued and or criminally charged. If your PI has been in the business for 10 years or more, you can usually assume that he won't get himself or you into trouble.
I'm going to skip on up a little bit.
Although I have dealt with many.
Okay, coming up on number 2.
Mistake number 2. Hiring a private investigator that you can't easily reach on the phone.
Okay.
The biggest and most common complaint that I hear from people who
I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Can't get a hold of them. You need to set all that up with some sort of a contract in writing. This guy goes through that, so be sure and ask them.
Try to call an investigator when you're still undecided if you're even going to hire him can be a very good indicator as to how your case might be handled. The use of voicemail is a big red flag in this business at any stage of the business relationship. Answering services where the person answering the call is outsourced or working in a call center is another red flag. Of course, many investigators are going to be readily available when they're trying to get your case, but the true test begins once the PI has your money. This is usually where the real communication breakdown occurs. Here are my tips for avoiding this mistake and making sure that your investigator is responsive to your calls and communicates effectively and efficiently. First of all, if you get a voicemail recording when you call their office, just move on to the next candidate. If they can't manage to answer the phone at this stage, they certainly won't be answering it once they have your retainer deposit. If they do answer the phone, find out what their process is for keeping you updated on your case. Ask the investigator if you'll be able to reach him or her on short notice, and what their hours of availability and maximum turnaround time for returning your calls is. Mistake number 3. Hiring a private investigator without first meeting them in person. Now, I realize that there's going to be times when it simply isn't possible to meet an investigator at their office due to time constraints. And sometimes the investigator that you're trying to hire might even be located in another state or another country. You just simply can't meet them in person. But if at all possible, request to meet the investigator in person at their office. At the very least, make sure that they're successful enough to have an office and staff, and that they're not running their business out of their basement, a spare bedroom, or a Starbucks or McDonald's restaurant. By meeting the person handling your case in person, you'll also be able to get a better feel for the investigator's level of integrity and professionalism. If their office is disorganized or sloppy, or if you see evidence from other clients' cases out in the open, once again, I'd look for another investigator. Additionally, by meeting them in person, you'll get a better idea of whether or not they really seem to have a good understanding regarding your case and whether they seem physically capable of getting the job done. You're going to want to start by looking for an office address on their website. You usually find this either at the footer of their website or on the Contact Us or an About Us page. If their address isn't listed or it's listed as a P.O. box, I strongly recommend moving on to the next candidate. Mistake number 4, hiring a private investigator who doesn't offer a money-back guarantee. Now, this doesn't mean that the investigator can document something that didn't happen. What it means is that he will do what he says he's going to do, and he's going to stand by whatever those results are.
There you go.
Now, in my view, every private investigation company should be fully accountable for their work. If you aren't pleased with the job in every way, you shouldn't have to pay for it. Very few investigators offer this kind of guarantee. Ask the investigator if he offers a money-back guarantee.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
This indicates that he doesn't have the confidence in his business to stand behind his work. Mistake number 5, choosing a private investigator without researching reviews from other clients. Now, any private investigator can say anything about his past work, and unfortunately, some of what he says may not be true. Make sure that you ask for references or at least read comments from past clients so that you can depend on the investigator and his work. Look for genuine testimonial reviews with first and last names attached. Beware though, many private investigators and other people advertising on the internet are using sham review services where they can manufacture phony reviews to hack their favorability ratings. The best and most reliable reviews I found have been posted on Google Reviews. Also, you can find pretty accurate reviews on the Better Business Bureau site. Both of these services continually monitor for phony reviews. Mistake number 6, choosing a PI who is a jack of all trades. If the PI doesn't specialize in what you're trying to get done, or doesn't have investigators on staff who do specialize in the type of situation that you're dealing with, then you might want to consider moving on. Over 25 years in law enforcement and the investigation business has taught me the hard way that there are some investigators that are built one way and others that are built another. But rarely, if ever, do investigators with multiple specialties come in the same package. Now, some larger and more established investigation companies do have several investigators on staff who specialize in different types of investigations. But most PIs will usually try to get the case and then outsource or subcontract it to someone who can do it. As often as not, many one-man shops will try to actually do the job themselves, even as ill-equipped and lacking in the tools, the training, and the experience as they are to handle it. What you're going to want to do is ask the investigator if they either specialize in that type of work you're trying to get done, or if they have someone on staff who's
gang stalking, group harassment. You want to ask if they specialize in that.
Technical done, such as a computer or cell phone forensics or a bug sweep. Make sure that the investigator has certifications in these fields, as we have had to deal with the aftermath of more than a few hacks and charlatans who did nothing more than talk a good game and then put on a good show. Mistake number 7, choosing a private investigator based on low price. Now, in most cases, just like when selecting a lawyer to handle your divorce or a doctor to handle your open heart surgery, low price is something to avoid. It usually means that the investigator doesn't have the reputation for getting results, which enables him or her to demand the premium rates. The level of professionalism in the private investigation business has a very wide range, and it usually directly correlates with what you're paying. Marketing themselves as a budget PI is the only way that some investigators know how to get business for themselves. It's usually a hidden price that comes with cheap. You really want to risk paying that price on the issue for which you're considering hiring a private investigator? Remember, the window of opportunity for obtaining what you're after is usually limited, and hiring the wrong investigator could leave you in a worse situation than you're in now. Mistake number 8, hiring a PI who is subcontracting the work to another investigator. This is oftentimes disguised with phrases such as our partners or part of our network. There are PIs out there who are making a business out of subcontracting investigative services, simply taking the calls, accepting the cases, and then scrambling to find someone else, anyone else, even someone that they've never dealt with before, to do the work. The primary problem with this approach is that when you hire someone who is subbing out the work, you're losing total control of who's handling the case, how much experience they have, what their credentials or their reputation are, and what kind of results they're known to get. Once again, looking for a local address on the investigator's website, along with a local telephone number, should ensure that you're dealing with an investigator who will be handling the work themselves, and not what we call in the business a general contractor, who's going to be subbing out the work and paying a cut rate fee to someone else who doesn't have the reputation and experience to earn the premium rates on their own accord. If you have any concern or doubt that the work is being subbed out, simply ask the investigator if they're handling the investigation themselves. If they fumble with it or dance around the answer, thank them for their time and move on to the next candidate. If you'd like to download those checklists, you can do so down below this video. There's a place where you can put your name and your email in there, and you can download the checklist. The first one deals with how to research private investigators' websites, what to look for, make sure that it's there. The second checklist deals with what kind of questions you're going to want to ask of private investigators once you do get them on the phone.